mentioned that you only turned 20, so obviously you have a long way to go. But if by some chance the 12-year-old version of you could realize
no
what
actual
was about
limit to the size of the economy. Once you have general purpose humanoid robots and autonomous vehicles, you can build anything.
I would say that anything is possible, and to dream big. I think me as a person, I'm very ambitious, and although
Elon Musk's $10 million surprise. Why Eala's tearful reaction just broke the internet. Welcome back to Baseline Boost, your ultimate destination for the most jaw-dropping, court-shaking, and game-changing news in the tennis world. If you think you have seen it all on the baseline, you might want to take a seat, grab your drink, turn off your notifications, and brace yourself, because today's story is ripped straight from the pages of a Hollywood blockbuster. We are talking about one of the most powerful men on the planet, a staggering $10 million, a tearful reaction that literally broke the internet in half, and a young Filipino tennis prodigy who just proved to the entire world that she is so much more than a tennis player. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up. This is not just a game changer for the sport of tennis. This is a life changer for millions of children across Southeast Asia. And it is happening right now. Let us set the stage before we dive into the headline that has everyone from Manila to Madrid absolutely losing their minds. Because to truly appreciate the magnitude of what just happened, you need to understand who Alexandra Eala is, what she represents, and why this moment matters so much beyond the baseline. Alexandra Eala. Say that name slowly, because the world is going to be saying it for a very, very long time. Born in Manila in the Philippines on May 23, 2005, this extraordinary young woman has spent the better part of her life on a mission to put Philippine tennis, and by extension all of Asian tennis, on the global map. She left her home country at just 13 years old, traveling halfway around the world to train at the legendary Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Spain. Let that sink in for a moment. 13 years old, away from her family, her friends, her culture, and the warm comfort of her island home. Grinding away on clay courts in a foreign country, speaking a second language, all while carrying the enormous weight of an entire nation's dreams and expectations on her young shoulders. The sacrifices Eala made in those formative years are the kind that shape champions. There were tears of homesickness in empty training rooms. There were grueling 6-hour practice sessions that left her physically exhausted. There were moments of self-doubt, moments where the gap between where she was and where she needed to be seemed impossibly wide. But here's the thing about Alexandra Eala. She never, not for a single second, let the doubt win. And the results have been nothing short of staggering. By the time she was a teenager, she had already conquered the Junior Grand Slam circuit, becoming the first Filipino player in history to win a Junior Grand Slam singles title. She then began her professional journey, and the climb has been relentless and spectacular. Flash forward to recent months, and the trajectory of her career has gone from impressive to absolutely breathtaking. She has broken into the WTA Top 100, a milestone that sent the Philippines into a frenzy of celebration. She has gone deep in WTA 1000 tournaments like the Miami Open, defeating players ranked significantly above her in the world rankings with a ferocity and tactical intelligence that has had coaches and commentators around the globe doing double takes. She took down Grand Slam champions. She served bombs and ripped left-handed forehands that look like they belong in a video game rather than a real tennis match. She became almost overnight one of the most talked about young players in the sport. But here's where the story gets really interesting. Because just when the tennis world was getting comfortable with the narrative of Alex Eala as simply the next great player, a story dropped that turned everything upside down and sent shockwaves through sports, technology, philanthropy, and popular culture all at the same time. The news broke on a Tuesday morning, and within minutes it had detonated across every social media platform on the planet like a digital atom bomb. Elon Musk. Yes, that Elon Musk, the man who built Tesla into the world's most valuable car company, launched SpaceX rockets toward the moon and Mars, acquired Twitter and turned it into X, and somehow also found time to become one of the most polarizing and discussed human beings alive today, had officially made his move into the world of professional tennis. And he had done it in the most dramatic, audacious, and jaw-droppingly generous way imaginable. In a post on X, formerly known as Twitter, that clocked up millions of views in under an hour, Musk announced that he was personally inviting Alexandra Eala to be the headline player, the marquee face of a brand new international sporting event called the Southeast Asian Children's Charity Tennis Championship. Now, at this point, you might be thinking, okay, another charity tennis exhibition. Big deal. But hold on, because the scale of what Musk is proposing is unlike anything the sport has ever seen. The total prize pool for this tournament, $10 million. $10 million written out in full. $10 million. But here is the jaw-dropping twist that has everyone talking, arguing, and crying in equal measure. Not a single solitary cent of that prize money is going to the players. Not $1. Instead, 100% of the proceeds, every last penny of that $10 million will be channeled directly into building state-of-the-art schools, advanced medical hospitals, and safe haven community centers for underprivileged children across ASEAN nations. We are talking about the Philippines, Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, Cambodia, Myanmar, Laos, Brunei, and Singapore. The breadth of the humanitarian vision here is staggering. Musk's statement on X was characteristically direct, but it carried an emotional punch that caught the whole world off guard. He wrote, and we are paraphrasing here to give you the spirit of the message, "Alexandra is a symbol of resilience and undying joy, and I believe her presence will draw global attention to our mission." Read those words one more time. A symbol of resilience and undying joy from one of the most powerful and influential people on the planet. The validation in that sentence alone was enough to send Alexandra Eala's fanbase, which spans not just the Philippines, but virtually every corner of the globe, into a complete and total meltdown of emotion. The reaction on social media was immediate and overwhelming. Within the first hour of the post going live, the hashtag Serve for Our Children was already trending. Within 6 hours, it had climbed to the #1 trending topic in the Philippines, Indonesia, Thailand, and Malaysia simultaneously. By the end of the first day, it was the #1 trending topic globally, and it held that position for an extraordinary 48 hours straight. Sports commentators were talking about it. Political figures were sharing the post. Celebrities from every corner of the entertainment world were weighing in. Fellow professional tennis players, from current WTA stars to retired Grand Slam legends, were flooding their own social media with messages of support and admiration. Everyone was waiting for one thing above all else, Alexandra Eala's response. And when it came, it did not just meet the astronomical level of anticipation. It completely and utterly shattered it. Eala's response did not come through a carefully worded press release from a PR agency. It did not come through her management team or a polished, studio-produced video with perfect lighting and a teleprompter. Instead, she went live on her own social media channels, sitting in what appeared to be a quiet, simple hotel room. She was wearing a practice t-shirt. Her hair was pulled back. There was no glam team, no carefully curated background, no performance. Just Alex Eala alone speaking from the deepest, most unfiltered place within her. From the very first second of that video, viewers could sense that something profound was about to happen. Her eyes were glassy before she had even spoken a single word. Her voice, when it came, was trembling with a weight of emotion that no amount of composure training could contain. And then she began to speak, and the whole world leaned in. She did not talk about rankings. She did not talk about the prestige of the tournament or what it might mean for her career. She did not talk about Elon Musk's influence or the extraordinary honor of being personally selected by one of the world's most powerful billionaires. She talked about the children. She painted a picture in vivid, heartbreaking detail of the kids she grew up knowing back in the Philippines. Children who walk miles on unpaved roads just to sit in classrooms with leaking roofs, crumbling walls, and not enough textbooks to go around. Families in rural provinces where a medical emergency means a devastating, often insurmountable financial burden. Communities where the gap between poverty and possibility seems so vast that it can swallow entire generations whole. And then with a single tear rolling down her cheek that every camera in the world seemed to catch at exactly the right moment, she said something that will be quoted and remembered for years to come. She said that when she read Musk's invitation, she did not see $10 million. She saw the faces of the children back home. She saw every kid who has ever dreamed of a better life, but was born into circumstances that made that dream seem impossibly far away. Then her voice broke and she let it break. She did not reach for composure. She did not wipe her eyes and push through with practiced stoicism. She let the emotion flow completely and honestly. And in doing so, she connected with every single person watching in a way that transcends sport, transcends culture, transcends language. Because grief for injustice and hope for children are universal. They belong to everyone. After a moment, she looked back into the camera, and the expression that replaced the tears was one that anyone who has followed her tennis career would recognize instantly. It was the look she gets when she is down a set and a break. And she knows exactly what needs to be done. It was the steely, unshakable, iron-willed determination that has carried her from the streets of Manila to the courts of the world's greatest tournaments. And she made her declaration. She said with every ounce of fire and passion and purpose that defines her both as an athlete and as a human being that she was not just accepting the invitation. She was dedicating every drop of sweat, every swing of her racket, and every ounce of her being to this cause. She spoke directly to the children of the Philippines, of Indonesia, of Thailand, of every ASEAN nation. And she promised them, "We're going to build those schools. We are going to build those hospitals." And then she looked straight into the lens and said, "I will see you on the court, not to win a trophy, but to win a future for our children." The moment that video ended, the internet did not just buzz. It roared. Sports commentators, who are usually measured, analytical, and relentlessly composed, were visibly choked up on live television. One anchor on a major Asian sports network had to pause the broadcast for nearly 30 seconds to collect himself. News outlets across the world picked up the clip within minutes, not because of the celebrity connection or the $10 million figure, but because of the pure, undeniable, overwhelming humanity of what they had just witnessed. The intrigue does not stop there. There are whispers that retired legends of the game, players whose names are synonymous with Grand Slam glory and whose presence would add an extra layer of historical weight to the proceedings, are being approached about dusting off their rackets for one final meaningful performance. There are also suggestions that the format of the tournament itself might be unconventional, possibly mixing generations of players, mixing formats, and creating matchups that have never been seen before and will never be seen again. Every detail is being carefully choreographed to maximize both the entertainment value and the fundraising potential of the event. But no matter who else ends up in the draw, no matter what legends or current stars take the court alongside her, the entire world will be watching Alexandra Eala. Because in the span of one extraordinary, tearful, soul-bearing video, she has completed a transformation that was already well underway. She is no longer just a rising tennis prodigy, though she is certainly that. She is no longer just a pride of Philippine sport, though she is absolutely that too. She is now a global ambassador for hope, a symbol of what is possible when athletic excellence meets genuine, deeply felt human compassion. She is proof that the most powerful serve in tennis is not the one that hits 130 miles per hour. It is the one that hits straight at the heart. The grassroots response to her acceptance video has been nothing short of extraordinary. Within hours of her announcement going live, fan clubs and community groups across the Philippines and beyond had begun organizing their own micro-fundraising drives, pulling together whatever money they could to add to the official total. School children raised money through bake sales. Office workers ran collection drives. Diaspora communities in the United States, Canada, Australia, the United Kingdom, and across the Middle East organized events to contribute. The amount raised by these grassroots efforts, while modest compared to the $10 million headline figure, represents something far more valuable: the collective power of ordinary people who are moved by one young woman's tears into taking action. This is the ripple effect of authentic leadership. This is what happens when a public figure chooses vulnerability over image management, chooses purpose over personal brand, chooses the children over career calculation. Alexandra Eala did not need to cry on camera. She did not need to expose the most tender parts of her heart to millions of strangers on the internet. She could have released a polished statement through her team. She could have smiled and said the right words and kept her composure intact. Instead, she chose truth. She could have smiled and said the right words and kept her composure intact. Instead, she chose truth. And truth, as it turns out, is the most powerful force on the internet. It is worth pausing here to consider what this entire story represents in the broader context of sports and society. We live in an era of athlete branding and social media strategy. An era where every public statement from a professional athlete is carefully managed and calibrated for maximum positive impact on their personal brand. And there is nothing inherently wrong with that. Athletes work extraordinarily hard to reach the top, and they deserve to be compensated and recognized for their efforts. But every so often, a moment comes along that cuts through all of the careful management and reminds us why we fell in love with sport in the first place, why we watch, why we care, why when a young person steps onto a court in front of thousands of people, something in us rises to meet them. Alexandra Eala's response to Elon Musk's invitation was one of those moments. And the fact that it was witnessed by tens of millions of people around the world, people from every culture, every language, every background, speaks to something universal and profound about what she touched with her words and her tears. The Southeast Asian Children's Charity Tennis Championship does not have an official date yet. The venue has not been confirmed. The full player roster has not been announced. But the conversation around it has already fundamentally shifted the narrative of the sport. Tennis is not just a game about who can hit the hardest or run the fastest or tactically outmaneuver an opponent on a 78-foot rectangle. It is a stage. It is a platform. And in the hands of someone like Alexandra Eala, it is a weapon against injustice, a hammer against poverty, and a beacon for every child who has ever dared to dream of something better. We will be right here covering every single development as it unfolds. From the first official player announcement to the venue reveal, from the first practice session to the final match point, Court Vision Plus will bring you every detail, every angle, and every emotional moment of this historic tournament. We have been here since the beginning of Alex Eala's journey, and we will be here for every step of what comes next. Because we believe, just like Elon Musk apparently does, just like millions of fans around the world do, that Alexandra Eala is not just a tennis player. She is a movement, and this movement is just getting started.
So, we want to hear from you right now.
What do you think about Elon Musk's extraordinary $10 million charity announcement? Were you as moved by Alex Eala's tearful acceptance video as the rest of the world was? Do you think this event could change the way the sports world approaches philanthropy and social responsibility? And most importantly, which other tennis stars do you want to see step up and join this cause? Who deserves a place in the most meaningful tournament in the history of the sport? Drop your answers, your predictions, your reactions, and your thoughts in the comments section below. We read every single one of them, and your voice is a crucial part of what makes this community so special. If this story moved you, if it gave you chills, if it made you proud of what sport can be when it rises to its highest purpose, then do us a massive favor right now. Smash that like button so hard the algorithm notices. Share this video with every tennis fan, every sports lover, and every big-hearted person you know. Post it on your socials, send it to your group chats, tag the people in your life who need to hear the story. And if you have not already joined the Court Vision Plus family, now is the moment. Hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and become part of the community that brings you the most explosive, emotional, and unforgettable stories in the world of tennis. We are Court Vision Plus. We do not just report the game, we feel it, we live it. And on days like today, when a young woman from the Philippines and a billionaire from Silicon Valley combine to remind the world of what is truly possible, we are absolutely honored to tell the story. Keep your eyes on the court, keep your heart in the game, and we will see you in the next video. I would say that anything is possible, and you know to dream big. I think me as a person, I am very ambitious, and although there was no one who thought that I could make a difference, you know that is what I can do. The only thing I can do to give back to my country is to help inspire.
Then,